To his followers, he was Comandante, or just Fidel. To his enemies, a feared dictator, one of the world's last communists. The legendary firebrand began life simply, the illegitimate son of a middle-class landowner. A student radical, he graduated with both a law degree and a doctorate, tried running for the National Assembly in 1952, until Cuban strongman Batista seized power and canceled the elections. In 1953, Castro led a rebel group against Batista's military barracks and failed. Castro ended up in jail for 2 years, until an amnesty, when he went into exile. In Mexico, Castro regrouped with his brother Raul and fellow revolutionary Ernesto Che Guevara. The three led a force back to Cuba in 1956, waging guerrilla war against Batista's corrupt regime. 2 years later, on New Year's Day 1959, they toppled Batista and marched into Havana. At first, the young leader promised democracy, telling the U.S. he was not a communist.
I came for good relations.
Meet the Press in April 1959.
I am not communist. I am not agree with communists.
Later that year, he even went on The Tonight Show with Jack Parr.
And I know how many questions you've been asked.
Never mind, you can ask all that you want for the public opinion of the United States about anything that you want.
But almost from the start, Castro confiscated the property of the wealthy, silenced newspapers, nationalized U.S. oil refineries, and signed a pact with the Soviet Union. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy ordered the CIA to invade Cuba at the Bay of Pigs, using a force of anti-Castro exiles.
At 3:45 p.m. Wednesday, April 19th, resistance ends.
The resulting debacle only helped Castro consolidate power. By then a declared socialist, he dramatically improved health care and literacy, but also accepted Soviet missiles, bringing the superpowers to the brink of nuclear war.
Requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Until JFK's hard line and back-channel diplomacy got the Russians to pull back. For 25 years, Moscow helped Castro arm communist insurgents throughout Latin America. But with the end of the Soviet Union, Cuba's economy imploded. On makeshift boats, thousands of Cubans fled the increasingly repressive regime.
His legacy is a complicated one, but there's no forgetting how many Cubans left the island under duress.
In the 1990s, the aging ruler courted U.S. businessmen and American tourists. He showed a new tolerance for religion, welcoming Pope John Paul II in 1998. And he won friends throughout Latin America by exporting Cuban-trained doctors and medicine. In 1999, a custody battle over 6-year-old Elian Gonzalez became the symbol of America's struggle with Fidel Castro. Months later, a federal court ordered the child removed from Miami. Elian returned to his father and a hero's welcome in Havana. Gradually, even the world's longest ruling dictator began showing signs of age. He collapsed from heat exhaustion in 2001. Tripped and broke his knee and arm 3 years later. The Bush administration tightened sanctions, cutting off most travel to the island. Castro retaliated, arresting hundreds of dissidents. In Castro's final years, Cuba's economy was propped up by another leftist ally, oil-rich Venezuela. In the summer of 2006, after undergoing intestinal surgery, Fidel Castro temporarily turned over power to his brother Raul. On December 2nd of that year, Cuba commemorated the 50th anniversary of the revolution and had a delayed celebration of Fidel's 80th birthday. But an ailing Fidel Castro did not attend the celebrations. 2 years later, he officially stepped down and was succeeded by his brother. Fidel spent his later years writing columns about his life experiences, emerging publicly for Pope Benedict's visit to Havana in 2012, and for Vladimir Putin and China's President Xi in 2014. But he never commented on President Obama's breakthrough with Raul Castro to normalize relations. And Fidel was noticeably absent when his brother welcomed home 3 Cuban spies, heroes in Havana, long imprisoned in the United States. To the end, Castro insisted his revolution would outlive him.
If I die tomorrow morning, there will be no problem here of any sort, because there remains a nucleus of old revolutionary leaders who, without a doubt, have great authority among the people.
He never tolerated free elections or dissent, but gave his people better health care and education. Still, his real legacy may be holding power for nearly half a century, longer than any other modern leader.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.